Yeah, what's up? Welcome back to Sports Talk. Go from the East Coast to the West Coast in the National League. Going to talk about the current, not maybe not current at this point, but the top teams right now in the West, which is LA, San Diego, and San Francisco. Um, Not really a crazy surprise that the Dodgers are back on top after winning the World Series last year during the 60-game season. But as I was telling people last year, the Dodgers are just so, like, they just score so easily. Like, they're so, they have the home run hitters, but then they also have the people, the batters in the middle that can just get on base, get a double, get an easy double, and then they have 3 doubles in a row. You have 2 runs right there at least. Like, they're just so on top of it. They're not always going for the big home runs. Like, as a Yankee fan, you know that a lot of the guys on there don't say that they go for home runs, but they definitely do swing for the fence on a lot of them. Those guys just go up there, try and make contact. They don't try and do anything extra. They, except for maybe Bellinger, who has the biggest upswing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because he's staying up straight and he just swings down and up, and that ball is a rocket ship to space. But other than that, most of them just go for the contact. And as a fan of baseball, you might know, every once in a while you're gonna get that bomb that will sail over, and it will of course give you those extra runs. But they really just go for the gappers. They go for the bloopers. They go for the singles. They go for the doubles. They'll do like any little thing that will help. They don't do too much. They don't overthink what they're doing. They just go for it, and they're just like, we got this. Like, they're just, I honestly think that they will probably be in the World Series again this year. Not let alone the hitters, the pitchers. You got Kershaw, you got Dustin May, who I think at this point is basically a second year. You still got Walker Buehler. And you also got Kensley Jansen. All these pitchers are so good. They know each other. They work off each other. Of course, everyone saying the last couple of years since the Dodgers were basically choking the playoffs, that Kershaw would come in and be the ace of the in their playoffs game. He would come in the first game and blow it. We always called him you always call him a choker, because he would be the ace of the Dodgers, but then he'd come in and just not come in and pitch to his ability and always get blown out in the first 4 innings, which in the playoffs you want to keep your starting pitcher in there as long as possible, especially after the whole year of him being able to set up their control of the pitches, be able to command everything, and just understanding how to basically, oh, hey, I have these 2 pitches roll off just a little bit. Let's try and maybe just reset, throw a strike right down the middle, throw a breaking ball, just go back to the best pitch. Like, he always somehow just never stood up to, or not really stood up, just was there for the best of his ability. But last year, that was not the case for them. And right now, that is not the case at all either. They're doing great. They're, of course, on the top. They're one of the top teams in the league. And I really do see them staying there for the majority of the season. And it probably won't change for probably a year at least, especially since they just signed Turner, who was a major part of that World Series team. They still have Corey Seager, who was the MVP of the World Series last year, I feel like he's been a quiet success on a very loud team. but also I think he's been a loud success on a very loud team. I have mixed emotions on how he's been perceived, and just I'm happy he came out and was who he was last year and killed it. If you guys don't know, Corey Seager actually has an older brother who is on the Seattle Mariners, who, as baseball fans, they're not great. They're really been the bottom of the totem pole for years and years and years. Basically, honestly, since Ken Griffey left. But hey, if you ever have the chance, go watch him. He's actually a solid, consistent player. He is older. He's, I think, 3-4 years older than Corey. Not exactly sure on that. I just know he's older by a couple years. Yeah, and also not only, let alone do they have the same players from last year, they also have the same manager for the last couple of years. So he knows them by heart. They all love it. They all respect him. He treats them all with respect. Family, that's they're a very tight wound, very high chemistry team. They do really just like click together very well, and they're not. I really think that they have great potential, and they can be a great dynasty for at least another couple years, and maybe win. I'm hoping, but of course, hoping the Yankees can come out on top in the next couple years here. Next, we got San Diego. I personally have, of course, as over the years, kind of more drifted over to West Coast, seeing how they are. They have made some huge moves. They've picked up so many big headline guys that not only are they just headline guys, they have proof, and they've been proving, and they have, like, this year again, they're proving that they have it. Of course, for a number of years they only had Will Myers over there, really, and they really know they really know pitching. They really were like the Angels all over there they were the Angels of the NL West, because as we know, the Angels are in the AL West. So in the last couple of years, they've picked up, of course, Eric Hosmer, Manny Machado, and they've also brought up Fernando Tatis Jr., who unfortunately is hurt right now, which is he is the face of MLB The Show, and of course everyone's saying it. There's a curse and saying that if you get that you get hurt, or just nothing really great happens to the team. But yeah, he is out right now. Hopefully he comes back soon, because he is a very electrical and high energy player, who is, of course, very young. Crazy how much younger he is actually younger than me, and a lot of those players are actually younger than me if I think about it. But they brought up Machado, who was basically one of the stars of the Baltimore Orioles, besides Trey Mancini, who, thankfully, if you don't know, he came back from beating cancer. I think it was colon cancer. I gratefully came back from that and beat that, and his his first home run, I think, in his first game, first at bat. But he was Manny Machado was basically one of the stars of the Baltimore Orioles, playing third baseman over there, the hot corner. He was always hitting. He was getting on base. He was producing for that team, and he signed a huge contract with the Padres. I think 3 seasons ago. It was right after Trout signed his major deal. Not, again, of course, not as big as Trout's deal. That's a hefty deal over there. But I think in the next, they have, of course, gotten to the NLCS against the Dodgers, and I really, if I really did actually see them beating the Dodgers. They really were that put together. He helped. Machado actually was one of the reasons that they got that far. He did jack a bunch of home runs. I'll say of course double-digit home runs. I think it was, and he just really has brought another depth part to this team, and it just looks great. Another guy that as I was saying, for Eric Hosmer, he came over from the Orioles. No, not Orioles, the Royals. He's more of a contact of, again, a lot of baseball is just contact. You make the right contact, you will get great product out of it. That's why if when you see the great hitters, they're not going for crazy launch angle, because that's how you know you're on time. You just go level straight for the ball. That's why they say make contact and keep your eye on the ball, and great things will happen. That's exactly how Eric Hosmer is. He's really, again, as they all stay in the league as long as they are. They're all getting their at bats. We're all seeing how they have to with their against pitching that they've been against for years. They know how they throw. They know, okay, I'm hot with this pitch. They're gonna throw me this pitch. He is one of those great guys that can tell that, right? Like, he'll go, okay, fastball. I'm not hitting fastball. They're gonna throw a lot of fastballs at me outside up. They're gonna go for that. He's like that. Another thing about the Padres in general is they don't really get shifted on a lot, which is becoming a very big part of the game, which, as a lot of you guys know, there's been a lot of rule changes in the last year because of COVID, and they're trying to get the guys out and going, and I think that, again, of course, it's an unwritten rule, because there's a lot of unwritten rules in baseball, but shifting, it's become unwritten rule, but a lot of them are trying to get out of it, because it's ruining the game. Oh, hey, you hit it here, but there's already a guy here, because we already know you're gonna hit it here because you're hot over here. You're a right-handed hitter. You're gonna hit it to shortstop, third base. Let's throw 4 people over here and let's get you out easily. If you got a shift on you, I know it's not easy, because baseball, you're hitting literally a ball this is big with a bat that's this big, and you're trying to connect it and make it a hit. I understand it's not easy. It takes years and years of practice to be great at it, but of course you get the guys that can beat the shift, and that actually don't have shifts on them, which the Padres are kind of that team that don't really get shifted on too much, which, of course, in the long run, it helps them, because you kind of keep the defense guessing, and it actually is the real strategy of the game. You kind of just keep third base, shortstop, second base, first base. You're not gonna bring over you're not gonna bring a shortstop over and play in shallow right field so you can get the ball there and throw them out at first. They're not gonna. That's not how the Padres are hitting. So it makes it harder for them to get out, which is great. Switch over a little bit to the pitching. Pitching has been great. They picked up 2 guys this year. Actually, it feels like they picked up the whole rest of the league this year. Picked up Jose Musgrove, who actually just recently pitched up no-hitter, which, for you baseball fans don't know what a perfect no-hitter is you can have people on base, you can walk people, but you just can't allow a hit. And that's what he did throughout the whole game. It's a very hard feat to accomplish. It is basically Honestly, it's like winning a World Series for yourself. Like, you're like, wow, I just destroyed this team. They couldn't hit off me. Yes, I might allow 1, 2 people on just by walking. But other than that, no one got on. That was a great game. I think they ended that game 4-0, 3-0 or 4-0. It was against the Texas Rangers, and so they also picked up Blake Snow, who, if you don't know, Blake Snow is actually the guy who's the starting pitcher of Game 6 in the 2020 World Series against the Dodgers, where the manager decided to, in the, I think it was like 6th or 7th inning, to take him out. As a guy who wanted the Dodgers to win already, I was beyond confused. The whole entire baseball world was beyond confused. How do you go in and take out a guy who is dominating? Dominating. He didn't even, like, I think he let up maybe 1, maybe 2 hits the whole game. And they come in and take him out with 0. Even the commentators were like, why did they do that? He was killing them. And, like, you just see the whole, like, and if you watch the game, you could see the game just switch. You saw all the Dodgers were like, all right, got him out. I don't know how, but you took him out. So you're telling us we can win this now. Like, so I think that was actually easier for the Padres to get Snow because of that crazy, weird decision that I still don't think that anyone understands why. I think the manager is still, and the skipper still understands why he did it, but no one else does. But besides the point, that actually, I think, made it easier for the Padres to sign Blake Snell, who has been great. He also, as being a pitcher that is coming over from the AL, who, as PL, has the DH rule, so pitchers don't have to actually hit in the AL, but they do hit in the NL. He's actually a good hitter. Like, you don't see too many, like, yes, of course, when they were in high school and probably college, they knew how to hit. They were very good hitters, so it's not like they don't know how to hit. They just haven't done it in a couple years. And yeah, you go in and you're like, okay, cool, like, I'm gonna, like, okay, we'll play 1 or 2 NL teams this year. Let's get your practice in once or like a couple times a year. But Snell's actually a guy who can actually come in, and he's not really surprised that he can hit, and it's solid. Another guy who they actually just picked up, who is kind of on the back burner. He's not very well known. He's not a crazy well known pitcher. Is Malacon. Malacon used to be on the Pirates. And he's, well, not only on Pirates, but he used to be on many other teams. But he really is coming out and showing his colors this year on the Padres. He is a great relief pitcher, middle relief pitcher usually. Sometimes actually just relief pitcher. But he's another solid pickup that they got this year. And he's just guy who's been able to take command of his pitches and understand how he has to change sometimes, and they it's just great solid pickups this year, and they are going to be a solid team for the next few years to come. And I'm very happy that the Padres finally started to show that they can spend money. Because if you don't notice, a lot of teams, like, again, I'm going to bring them up, the Yankees and the Dodgers and not really even Tampa, but like big market teams are spending a lot of money. And then, like, when the small teams don't spend a lot of money, they have to kind of give them. It's just, the whole money situation is just weird. But the Padres were actually like, Yeah, I should look it up, but they shelled out millions of dollars this offseason. But hey, in the long run, it should help. I see this team being a dominating team, especially being I think that they'll be the Dodgers' new series rival. Again, you can't take away the Giants and Dodgers rivalry. That has been a rivalry for a very, very long time. But you get the Padres are coming up as the new, of course, new contenders because they did face them in the NLCS. So I'm not surprised that those two teams are back on top of the NL West, and they will both continue to. I think they will both continue to strive and be great and be up there and be those two teams that the NL will be basically afraid of. And it just will continue like that. And here's another team. Moving on to the third team that I mentioned, the San Francisco Giants, who they did win years ago. They won in 2012. I think it was 2012 that they last won. They haven't really had too much groundwork to use. I think the oldest tenure on the team is Buster Posey, the catcher, who actually sat out last year due to COVID. I think because he just had a newborn, so he wanted, because that was actually what a lot of players were doing last year. They were opting out of the season. He just had a newborn baby, so he basically was like, I'm gonna sit out the season, take care of my kid, help my wife, kids, and family. He is back this year. He is up there in age. He is. I think he's the last one from that team. That World Series team actually, to be there. But he's a he's a great leader. When he's there, he's a very well-rounded player. He's if you don't know, he's the catcher. He's just, again, I'm going to say this a lot through these teams. He's a great, consistent contact hitter. He doesn't try too hard to hit the home runs. He just goes out and goes, all right, I got it. Say, here's a scenario. He got a guy in first. All right, I can get him home, yes, on a home run, but also I can get him home on a nice beam down the right field line to the fence, and depending on who it is, they can either get to third or get home. That is how he is. He will, yes, of course, go for the home runs if he wants to. Obviously, if they want to, they'll go for it. But he is just going to be that. He really, I'm happy he's actually back, because that team is actually becoming very young again, because they haven't had much talent or much great success in the last couple of years. So he is a great guy to have for not only it's a great thing that he's back for the full 162 games, because then the younger players really of course be able to talk to him no matter. Okay, they still do that last year with 60 games. It's not taking away anything about them talking to each other, but he will really bring this team together, and you can already kind of see it. Yes, it's been, I think, 6 games, 7 games actually, I think, at this point. But he will really, I think, bring this team to a spot that they can actually start recruiting other great players and giving them a great word, and just bringing them as a solid together, because I think he is almost gonna let it hang up soon, because he has had a great career, and we'll just see how these teams, of course, pan out halfway through the season, and of course the ultimate goal, how they will end up at the end. You can have one team go up, stay there, and fall, or you can just stay there and have a great season and be seen in the playoffs. So that's it for me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you next time on Sports Talk. See ya.